Welcome to Facilitating a Successful Post-Observation Conversation. Our objective is for you to utilize various resources to guide your mentee through a meaningful post-observation conversation. In our last mentor training, we gave you a big picture overview of the observation cycle, and we looked more closely at steps 1 and 2. Let's refresh our memory on steps 1 and 2. You have a graphic on the whole cycle in your notebook behind the Conferences and Observations tab. So as a reminder, the first step of the observation cycle is the pre-observation conversation. This is where you and your mentee set up the observation, talk about the lesson you'll see, and determine together the type of data you will collect. Step 2 of the observation cycle is the actual observation. In this step, you watch your teacher and collect the data you decided upon together. You use the data collection tool from your mentor handbook to capture the data and make a copy to give to your mentee. Today our focus will be on steps 3 and 4 of the observation cycle. In step 3, you spend time by yourself reviewing the data and planning the questions you will ask your mentee and ways in which you might offer feedback. We will work on questions and feedback today. Step 4 of the observation cycle is multifaceted. You generally start by walking your mentee through a self-reflection of the observation. This is where you might ask questions if your mentee is stuck or not processing the observation data with much depth. You might also offer suggestions or feedback during this time as you determine and document next steps. Step 3 of the observation cycle is often overlooked or skipped. However, it is an important step in the process if you want to be able to effectively use data and feedback in order to help a teacher move their practice forward. Intentionally planning for this conversation promotes teacher thinking focused around the collected observation data. It also allows you to make connections to Marzano and/or your mentee's goals. Questions for growth can be found in your mentor handbook on the following pages. If you would like to pause the video to tab these pages, please do so now. This is an example of a tool that you can use in order to prepare for your post-observation conference. This document is attached to the email you received with the link to the video, but any form of planning is sufficient. Whatever tool you use should reflect upon the strengths and opportunities for growth from the observation. You might notice on this specific tool that there are more strengths than growth opportunities because we want to highlight the successes of our mentees. It's recommended that you determine a reflective question that you can ask your mentee to help facilitate a post-observation conversation. Here are some reflective question stems you could use as you plan your post-observation conference. Now that you have reflected upon the observation and planned some areas to highlight, it's time for step 4, the actual post-observation conversation. The same conversation log you used when conferencing with your mentee can be used on step 4 of the observation cycle. Please make sure you are documenting what is discussed during your post-observation conferences. This conversation specifically focuses on the observation data that was collected in step 2. Completing the conversation log helps the teacher analyze the strengths and opportunities of growth from the observation, and it allows the mentee to determine his or her next steps and what support is needed. This conference is focused on the observation. Questions should be asked to bring back teachers' thinking to the observation data if off topic. We provided a conversation log with question stems to help facilitate the different elements of the post-observation conversation. It is attached to the email you received with the link to this video. We have also attached to the email you received some tips and stems in order to help you phrase your suggestions. Research has given us some important things to keep in mind about offering suggestions effectively. Suggestions that are followed by a question or a paraphrase of the teacher's thinking have the highest percentage of acceptance and have a more powerful impact. Remember, offering suggestions means you are in the consulting stance. Make sure that is where you want to be before offering suggestions, and make sure that your mentee is in a frame of mind where they will be receptive. Let's review our objective again. Please take a moment to assess your comfort level with the post-observation planning and conversation. Next, Philip will help us further develop our mentoring language skills. that can be used during your pre- and post-observation conferences.